I welcome you all again for this online class on transmission and distribution. In today's class, we'll be highlighting the concepts regarding module number 2. Okay, so we had done with concepts related to module number 5, and right now we are going to highlight the concepts and the topics which are there with respect to module number 2. Okay, so that is nothing but the transmission line parameters which are there. So let me share the syllabus with you right now again, and you will have an idea of how the contents are going to be and what are the concepts that are quite important when it comes to this topic, and how as a like from the lecture delivery point of view, so what are the important concepts that will be there. Okay, so everything I'll highlight it with this syllabus. Okay, so with the syllabus of the module 2. Okay, in double E. So we are going to have this transmission line parameters, which is related like this. I hope the screen is visible to everyone right now. Okay, so we are going to have module number 2 exclusively discussed right now, and it is called as the transmission line parameters. We have the introduction aspect in today's class. We are going to highlight regarding introduction to the line parameters. That is nothing but the resistance, inductance, and capacitance of the transmission line. Next, we are going to move ahead with calculation of inductance of single phase and three phase lines, okay, with equilateral spacing and unsymmetrical spacing. That is nothing but unequal spacing there, so which means unsymmetrical spacing. And we have a single circuit and a double circuit line, and we will be understanding why transposition of conductors is required for the transmission lines. So why transmission lines are said to be transposed. And next we have inductance of composite conductors. That is, the meaning of it is you are going to understand the GMR, meaning the geometrical mean radius, or we call it as the fictitious radius which is there. So I'll highlight about that concept when I talk about GMR and GMT, which is a geometric mean distance also. And what are the advantages of single circuit and double circuit lines? That is the theory concept. Up to this point, that would be we would be covering the calculation of inductance and the related one, which is equilateral spacing and like unsymmetrical spacing. And next we are going to discuss about the composite conductors, and after that we are going to discuss the advantages of a single circuit and double circuit lines. All right, so we'll be highlighting that concept clearly in this part of module 2. And next we will be covering regarding the calculation of single phase and three phase lines with equilateral spacing. So we'll be highlighting about the capacitance effect, so which is having the same double circuit line transposition of lines GMR and GMD, that is capacitance of a composite conductor. So there also we would be highlighting the advantages of single circuit over the double circuit. Okay, so these are the concepts that we'll be discussing in detail when I talk about the transmission line parameters. So now I would like to ask a question to you. What are your expectations from this module? Can anyone tell me what are your expectations in this module? Feel free to talk. What are your expectations from this module? What would you like to learn from this module? Anything that comes to your mind related to this academic, that is line parameters, transmission line parameters. We are going to discuss that. Okay, so what comes to your mind? So I have just like in a short way I have explained the concepts that are there in module number 2. So looking at the syllabus, you would have a bit of idea what you are going to study, because you have got the idea regarding module number 1, so where we discuss the conductors, insulators, and the introduction aspects and all. In module number 3, we discuss regarding the different types of transmission lines that are there with respect to the voltage and the distance of transmission lines. And next, in module number 4, we discussed regarding corona and underground cables, where we had a bit of derivation and all. And in module number 5, we discussed regarding the DC distribution system and the power quality aspect, which are there. Okay. So when I talk about module number 2, that is the line parameters, you will be discussing, if you have any idea, you can uh, add on to it. So you will be discussing more about the calculation of inductance and capacitance, which are considered to be the energy storing elements in a circuit. And we will be highlighting regarding what happens in a three-phase circuit, what are the inductance equations, and why we need to go for the transmission lines being transposed. What is the main importance of transposition of transmission lines? All those concepts will be dealing that, and we'll be solving certain numerical problems which are related to it. Okay, so those are the things which we will be highlighting in module number 2. So at the end of module number 2, so you will be having an idea regarding the concepts which have been covered and certain topics which are quite important in terms of the line parameters. So the line parameters is the transmission line parameters, which is resistance, inductance, capacitance, and also the conductance effect that is there. Okay, so I'll be recording few more videos and I'll be sending you within this month. We'll be completing module number 2. I promise that. And most of it, numerical problems would be a recorded one, or else you have to solve it and share it in the group. So we'll be following that one throughout the completion of module number 2. Okay, so with this note, let me begin today's class with a brief introduction regarding the line parameters. Okay, so let me start right now. Let me stop sharing and let me share the whiteboard. Okay, so we will be talking more about the transmission line parameters, as I already told you. Transmission line parameters. Transmission line parameters, that is module number 2. That is module 2. Transmission line parameters. So we will be covering regarding the inductance. The first concept is that is the inductance. Next, we have got the capacitance. Next, we have got the capacitance. All right. So all those concepts we'll be discussing in detail. So we have single phase 2-wire system. That is the first derivation what we'll be covering. Single phase 2-wire. Okay. So next we have equal spacing. Okay. The conductors are said to be equally spaced. I'll be calling it as equal spacing and unsymmetrical spacing. Okay. Unsymmetrical spacing. So all those things we'll be discussing one by one, and later we'll be highlighting the advantages of single circuit over double circuit. Okay, so the same way we'll be highlighting regarding the capacitance effect also. We'll be solving a few more problems related to it. So the same way we'll be highlighting the capacitance. So we'll be having the single phase 2-wire, equal spacing, unsymmetrical spacing, and single circuit lines. So all those things we'll be discussing in detail. Okay, so with this note, let me begin a part of the introduction and let me highlight few transmission line constants which are there. Okay, so as we have seen in the performance of the transmission lines, so how will you categorize the performance of a transmission line? How will you say one transmission line is better than the other transmission line? On what basis do you like analyze it? Emavati, on what basis will you analyze the transmission lines? Yeah, on what basis will you highlight the transmission lines? Anyone? So how we'll be having it? So we have the first one, which is the transmission line efficiency, and also we'll be discussing regarding the voltage regulation, what we have already discussed. Now, these are the two parameters or two things that you have to keep in mind and understand the concepts which are related to the transmission line parameters. Okay, so first one, that is the transmission line efficiency. Transmission line efficiency. Okay, transmission line efficiency. A second one, it would be voltage regulation. Second one, it would be voltage regulation. Okay, so all these concepts that we will be keeping in mind to understand or to analyze, we have a better transmission line efficiency, a better voltage regulation, and you have to keep in mind that these are the two things which determine the performance of a transmission line. Okay, performance of a transmission line. Okay, so now this is with respect to the performance parameters that is there. Now we want the transmission line constants. So which is nothing but what are the transmission line constants? I just highlighted right now. What are the transmission line constants? What are the transmission line constants? We have four. Okay, can anyone tell me what are those transmission line constants? First one is the resistance, which is responsible for the losses. All right, so resistance is there. Okay, next we have inductance. Next we have got inductance. Next we have got capacitance. Any AC circuit which is there, so you will be having the resistance, inductancial and capacitance. And next one is the conductance that is there. Okay, conductance, it is measured in Siemens and it is G. The representation is G there. All right, so resistance, inductance and capacitance and conductance are there. All right, so now what you are going to highlight here, so the concept of inductance and capacitance, because the losses are due to the resistance, that is the ohmic loss, what we call, we have I squared R for a single phase transmission line. Okay, so 3 times I squared R, it is for a 3 phase transmission line. So now the inductance and capacitance are to be considered, which are considered to be the predominant parameters in case of a transmission lines. Okay, so now these transmission lines, I can generally call it as circuits with these transmission line constants distributed over the length of the transmission line. Okay, so over the length of the transmission line, over the length of the transmission line, it has been distributed. It has been distributed. So we call it as distributed line constants. Okay, so now how I can represent these distributed line constants. So we have the series elements. I'm just giving you a representation. So series elements where we have resistance and inductance, and then we have the conductance which is there, and we'll be having the capacitance effect. All right, so this is how it has been represented, and you have the resistance, and then you have an inductance, and then you will be having again the conductance, and then you have the capacitance effect there. All right, so all these fans, I mean, which are there. Okay, so more or less the resistance, capacitance, more, and this. Okay, so these points, whatever that has been called, so that is more or less like a distributed one. Okay, so these are more or less the distributed one which is there, and you will be having the load which is being connected after the points are being distributed over the length of the transmission line. All right, so now these elements are said to be distributed over the transmission line length, and you will be having the resistance, inductance, capacitance and conductance which are being distributed over the length of the transmission line. So per kilometer, you categorize it for per kilometer length of the transmission line, and then you extend it for the length of the transmission line which is there. Okay, so this is said to be the length of the transmission lines. Okay, length of the transmission line. All right. So now more or less we'll be highlighting regarding the inductance and the capacitance effect that is there. So as I told you, the resistance is involved in the power loss component, and we'll be having inductance, and next we'll be having the capacitance effect there. Okay. So you need to understand a bit of concepts related to electromagnetics and electrostatics, because inductance generally will be having the flux linkages which are there, and later the current flowing through it, and you will be having the current density equation, flux density will be there, and in electrostatics it will be field intensity. Okay, so flux density will be there, field intensity will be there in case of electrostatics, and you will be having the total flux linkages that is there in the conductor. So all these things you have to keep in mind, and you have to carry out the derivation. Okay, so first thing that comes to your mind when you talk about inductance, so it is more or less like the number of turns of a coil. Okay, so once I say it is a coil, and you have number of turns which are in a spiral wounded, and you will be having it wound to a magnetic material, and more or less you will be having it taken out, and it resembles the form of a spiral or a wound conductors which are there. Okay, so which is generally made up of a magnetic material. Once it is energized, you will be having the flux that is being developed, and it will be linking any other coil which is near to that. So that is a principle of a transformer that we had highlighted right now. So the inductance of a transmission line conductor, how it exists, it is due to the flux distribution inside the conductor. Okay, so inside the conductor, and definitely that is inside due to the internal flux alone, we call it as the inductance effect. So we'll be having first one, that is due to the internal flux alone, due to the internal flux alone. Okay, next we'll be calling it as due to the external flux. Okay, external flux or outside. Okay, outside flux, external flux alone. Okay, so once you have this internal flux, that is, I'll be writing it as phi nt, or I can have the term phi which is there. 1 minute. Yes. So first we'll be highlighting regarding due to the internal flux alone, that is phi internal, and due to the external flux alone, that is phi xt. So you will be having the terminals which are there, phi int and phi external also. You can represent it. Most of the textbooks use phi internal and phi external. So depending on the terms which I use there, so you will be having the flux linkages that has been developed as phi internal and phi external, that is acting due to the internal flux and the external flux. Okay, so once I have a conductor like this, I'll represent a conductor like this. So this conductor which has been developed, so you will be having it have a conductor which is there. Okay, so that is the flux that has been developed due to the internal flux, due to the internal flux. Next, due to the external flux, due to the external flux. Okay, due to the internal flux and due to the external flux which has been developed. Okay, so now let us calculate the first one, which is due to the internal flux alone. Okay, so first one will be calculating the inductance. Okay, first we'll be calculating the inductance due to internal flux alone, internal flux alone. Next we'll be moving ahead with inductance due to external flux alone. Okay, so next if I want to calculate the total flux acting on the conductor, what it would be? It would be phi internal plus phi external. Okay, so inductance due to external flux alone, external flux alone. Okay, so all these things will be discussing right now, and we'll be highlighting regarding the concepts which are there. So first, let us take the inductance due to the internal flux alone. Okay, so you need to have a bit of understanding of electromagnetics concepts that are there in the field theory, and then only we can highlight these concepts in a better way. Like you will be understanding it better if you have a bit of understanding of electromagnetics concept. So let us start right now. I'll take a conductor. Okay, I'll take a conductor. So I'll take a cross-sectional view of it. So this is more or less a conductor which is there. And if I take the cross-sectional view, so if I just cut this conductor like this, I'll be having the cross-sectional view. So how the cross-sectional view is being developed. So let me write down here. So this is a cross-sectional view. It is more or less circular in nature, and this is the conductor which is there. That is the hollow sphere which is representing, and you have the radius of the conductor starting from here. So you will be having a radius of the conductor, and this distance whatever I have taken, that is the distance x, if I want to take it as an internal flux. Now the small distance which is there, that is developed to the radius of the conductor, and the distance whatever I have taken, that is said to be dx. So this one is said to be dx, and this one is said to be the cross-sectional area, that is the surface small area which I take, that is said to be ds. So this one is dx, and this one is the radius of the conductor which is there. Now I'm talking about the inductance, that is the inductance due to internal flux alone. Okay, so internal flux alone. All right, so let us start right now regarding this internal flux, and I'm taking a long straight conductor with radius r, and you will be having current flowing through it. Okay, so it is a long straight conductor, with radius r, and carrying I amperes of current, and carrying I amperes of current. Okay, so the magnetic field, I'm talking about the inductance here. My relation would be with respect to the magnetic field. So magnetic field alone. Okay, so magnetic field. So once I talk about this magnetic field, the magnetic field will be established due to this current. Magnetic field will be established due to the current. So we know that once it is a simple working principle of a transformer. So you will be understanding the magnetic field which is established due to the current which is flowing in the conductor. Okay, current flowing in the conductor. All right, so the magnetic flux lines inside the conductors which will change, and what will happen, so there will be an induced voltage that has been generated. All right, so once you have a change in the value of the current flowing in the circuit, so you will be having this induced EMF that has been generated in the conductor itself. Okay, so once I have the contribution to this induced voltage, and you will be having the inductance which is being developed, and once this magnetic lines exist outside the conductor, so we'll talk about the flux which is linking the outside the conductor there. Okay, so we will be assuming while doing the derivation that the return path of the current in this conductor is far away, and the magnetic field of the conductor is not affected, and the value of the inductance due to the internal flux is given by the ratio of flux linkages to the current. Okay, so inductance is given by the ratio of flux linkages divided by the current in case of the internal flux that has been developed. Okay, so we are assuming it, or we are modeling it, and the assumptions whatever that is to be taken, so you take that the return path. So once we have the go path and the return path there, right, so we'll be assuming that the conductors which are there far away, so you will be having only the forward path of the flow of current, and then the return path is negligible, or it is not taken to the derivation there. Okay, so the assumptions are taken into picture here while we are doing such derivation. Okay, so the value of inductance due to the internal flux is given by the ratio of the flux linkages to the current taken, and it will be taken into the account of each lines of internal flux that has been developed, that is a part of the total current. Okay, so let us start right now regarding the magnetomotive force. Why did I take the magnetomotive force, or why did I not take the electromotive force, that is the EMF or the induced EMF that has been developed? So I have the closed surface area. Okay, so the exact value of the inductance can be obtained by the flux linkages which is acting inside the conductor, inside each of the conductor, as well as the external flux. I know it, but due to the internal flux only, so the MMF, which is given as the number of ampere turns, the number of ampere turns around any closed path, it is given by the closed surface area which is there, that is the ampere enclosed by the path, and it is H into a ds, that would be equal to the total current. So you would have seen this equation. Okay, so in your electromagnetics concept, so it is a closed surface area. If I write an integral like this, it's a line integral, and it is a surface enclosed area. So this circle, whatever that represents, it is a surface enclosed area, and you will be having it called for a surface which is taken. So this small surface, I'll be having H. What is H? H is the magnetic field intensity. Okay, so H is the magnetic field intensity. So I have this magnetic field intensity which is acting due to the internal flux alone. Okay, so that is the reason why you will be having this magnetic field intensity expressed in ampere turns per meter. Okay, so ampere turns per meter. Now this is the total magnetic flux that has been acting. Now I want it for a certain distance. What I have taken here, it is the point X which is there. So for certain distance, I need to take this into consideration. So let the magnetic field intensity, at a point X meters. When I take a distance, it would be meters from the center of the conductor, BHX, and this is a constant. At all points. As field is symmetrical. So the integration of ds, thus integration of ds around the closed circular path, is a 2 pi into x. Now see here, what is the meaning of the statement what I wrote right now? So if I take along the circumference of the small distance x, that it forms a circle there. So if I integrate the surface area over all the things, so that would result in the circumference of the circle, that is the total length. So if you just cut a circle and if you just extend it, so it would be the length of the circle, whatever that is made, right? So in a similar way, I'll be having the magnetic field intensity, so which is at a point x meter, so that is taken as Hx. Now this is a constant along all the points as the field is symmetrical. So integral ds, that would be integral. So I'll take Hx here. So what is the meaning of it? It is the surface one. So 2 pi into x is the integral of this one there. Okay, that is the entire surface one. Okay, so the whole closed circular path. So I'm talking about the closed circular path. So that would be integral ds, that would be equal to 2 pi into x. Okay, so as Hx is a constant, okay, as Hx is a constant, it would be multiplied with Hx into 2 pi into x, that would be equal to Ix. Now Hx, that would be equal to Ix divided by 2 pi into x. All right. So now, how do you define current density? So current density is also uniform along the length of the conductor which is there, because it's a single transmission line conductor, whatever that is taking, whatever that is there, and you have the current density that is there. So current density is said to be uniform, whether it is at distance x or the radius of the conductor or any distance which I take into consideration, the current density is said to be uniform. The current density is said to be uniform. All right, current density is said to be uniform there. So what I take a distance x, that is pi into ix squared, that would be equal to I divided by pi into r squared. All right, so ix, that would be the pi term get cancelled, x divided by r the whole square into I. Okay, so I have the substitution of ix in here. Okay, I have the substitution of ix into here. Hx, that would be equal to x divided by r, x divided by r the whole square into ix into 1 divided by 2 pi into x. So that is the value of hx. What you will be getting? Hx would be, what is the equation that you are going to get? Hx would be x into I divided by 2 pi into r square in terms of ampere turns per meter. Okay, so this is the step by step. So we take the current density into picture, and we are going to do it, and we are going to find it out what is the current based on the current density equation. So you will be getting the value of the magnetic field intensity at a point x. All right, so this is the magnetic field intensity at a point x there, right? So next, what we are going to do, so we are going to find out the flux density. Okay, so flux density, that would be bx, that would be equal to mu into hx. All right, so well known equation to everyone. So b would be equal to mu into h. Okay, so mu, what is mu? Can anyone tell me what is mu? What is mu there? Permittivity or permeability? Is it permittivity or permeability? Anyone? Mu would be equal to mu naught into mu r. Okay, it is a permeability. So for a flux density at a point x, okay, so bx would be equal to mu into hx. Okay, so substitute for hx, mu, what is hx? X into I divided by x into I divided by 2 pi into r squared. All right, so that is bx, that would be equal to mu x into I divided by 2 pi into r squared. All right, so that is the value of bx, which is that. Got it? So mu into x, it is not mu x, it is mu into x into I divided by 2 pi into r squared. Now it is having a cross sectional, that is the thickness would be dx small, the thickness which is there, and the product would be of dx and the cross sectional area of the element. Okay, so if I want to write d phi, so that is bx into 1 into dx, that is for 1 meter length of the line. If I take, I can extend it, and I'll be writing it as a dx as the cross sectional area. So how did I write it? So phi would be equal to, okay, phi would be equal to, that is the flux. We have dm into a. So if you have observed in the single phase transformers numerical problems, we were finding out the flux like this. Okay, so now this area, whatever that is there for the transmission line conductor, that is said to be having a small area, that is dx there. Okay, so this is bx, and this is a small flux which has been developed. So on a similar basis, we got d phi, that would be equal to bx into 1 into dx. Okay, bx into 1 into dx. Now what I need to do, I need to substitute for bx, that is mu into x into I divided by 2 pi r squared into dx, that is d phi. That is d phi. All right, so now what do I need to do? I need to take the flux linkages. D phi, that is given by x squared by r squared into d phi. So if I substitute for d phi alone, that would be mu into x cube into I divided by 2 pi r power 4 dx. Okay, so d phi, I'll rewrite the equation again, that is mu into x cube into I divided by 2 pi r power 4 into dx. Okay, 2 pi r power 4 into dx. Now the flux links with the current. This is the equation where the flux produced links with the current. Links with current, that is in small section I have Ix. Okay, flux linkage per meter length of the conductor. This is the flux linkage. Okay, so flux linkage, whatever that is, the flux linkage per meter length of the conductor, per meter length of the conductor, per meter length of the conductor. All right, so now this is the equation what I wanted to find out in case of the flux linkages per meter length of the conductor. Now I need the total internal flux to find. I'll not say it as total internal flux. I need to do the integral. Okay, I need to take an integral to find out the total internal flux. Let me write it as total internal flux rather than writing it as total flux. Total internal flux. Okay, to find the total internal flux linkage. Okay, total flux linkage. Why? Because the inductance, that is L internal, that would be equal to phi internal divided by I. All right, so the total internal flux linkage will be given as will be given as will be given as the integral that would be from 0 to r. Why did I take it from 0 to r? I need to find the radius till the radius of the conductor, the upper limit. I have to take it. So the total internal flux linkage will be given as, that is the from the center of the conductor. This is the center of the conductor to the radius of the conductor. All right, so that would be a d phi, that is phi internal, that would be integral 0 to r d phi. Okay, so I'll be substituting for d phi. Let me write down here again. So d phi would be equal to mu into x cube into I divided by 2 pi r power 4 into dx. Okay, so integral 0 to r, that is mu into x cube into I divided by 2 pi r power 4 dx. Okay, 2 pi r power 4 dx. Now the phi internal, that would be mu into I divided by 8 pi. Okay, if you do the integral and if you take the integral, so that would be Weber turns per meter. Weber turns per meter. Now what is mu? As I told you, mu would be equal to mu naught into mu r. Mu would be equal to mu naught into mu r. Okay, so this is of free space and this is a relative permeability which is there, and this is the permeability of the material, that is taking the free space and also the relative permeability. So I'll be taking phi internal, that would be equal to mu into I divided by 8 pi. Okay, so mu naught into mu r, so 4 pi into 10 power minus 7 into, that is mu r into I divided by 8 pi. Okay, divided by 8 pi. So what you will be getting? So you'll be getting half. 4 pi 1s are 4 pi 2s are. Okay, so half into 10 power minus 7 into mu r into I. Mu r into I. Now if I take mu r as 1 for a non-magnetic material, if mu r is 1, so what is the phi, I mean, what is L internal? L internal would be phi internal divided by I, that would be equal to 10 power minus 7 divided by 2, that is Henry per meter. Okay, Henry per meter. So this is the per unit internal inductance what we have got. Per unit internal inductance what we have got. Per unit internal inductance. Okay, so per unit meaning per meter length. Okay, per meter length. Okay, so this is what I get it for L internal, that would be 10 power minus 7 divided by 2 Henry per meter. Okay, so this is what we get there. Fine. So any doubts up to this point, anyone? Any doubts up to this point? Anyone in the meeting? They can let me know. I can explain it better. If you have any doubts anywhere in the derivation part, anywhere else? If you have any doubts, do let me know right now. So I'll leave it to you. If you make an attempt to solve this inductance of a conductor, due to external flux, external flux. So what we'll be finding out, which is L external, which is that. All right. So you have to keep in mind we will be taking 2 points and we'll be finding it out. So you should be in a position to identify the concepts which are there in case of this inductance of a conductor due to external flux. I'll leave it to you. It's also important. So you should be in a position to highlight. So one thing you have to be clear in taking the integration that is there, and next one will be having the distances what is to be taken. Okay, so while writing the diagram, so it would be from the center of the conductor we have 2 points which are there, and we'll be having 2 points like this. Okay, so P1 and P2. Okay, P1 and P2. So we'll be highlighting the distances which are there, and the distance which would be taken into consideration for the integral, that would be taken as this small distance, that is dx. Okay, so this would be at a distance of x meters from the center. Got it? Any doubts up to this point? Anyone? You can let me know right now. Any doubts? So make an attempt to find out the inductance of a conductor. In a similar way, we'll be finding it out. You will be taking integral in two different terms that are there. Okay. Any doubts up to this point? Anyone?